Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Field Trip Energy. We are 2 days late today on these episodes because I kept procrastinating and I was not inspired. So guess what today's topic is going to be? Procrastination. Let's dive in. I have a long history in the entertainment world, specifically in comedy, and I used to create content all the time, and I would start projects and stick with them only to be rejected and denied later. Now that I'm a master's student studying psychotherapy, I thought I want to create this show and I want to stick to it weekly. I don't care who's watching. This is exactly how I would create a show. This is what I want. And my ultimate goal is to have my own talk show one day. So I made this vow to myself and I said, I'm going to show up every week. I've done it for 4 weeks. And then sure enough, the 5th week hits this week and I'm like, ah! Let's do a little exercise. Go ahead and pause this video and pull out a pen and paper. You definitely didn't just pull out a pen and paper. You were just going to keep it. Pull out a pen and paper. I'm watching. I'm really not. This was pre-recorded, but I know. Pull it out. Pause this video and take a moment to reflect on a time where you showed up for yourself when no one else was. When you have that moment, put it down on a piece of paper with the prompt, I am eternally grateful to myself for, and fill in that moment. Everybody harps on gratitude a lot in a naysayer kind of manner. People say, so cliche, count your blessings, write them down. I have never done anything A, easier, and B, more beneficial to my personal growth than writing down the things I am grateful for. When the brain is actually in a mode of gratitude, the neurons make it physically impossible to sit in a place of anxiety or depression. That is a scientific fact. How incredible is that? It is the ultimate way to combat depression and anxiety, is to write out the things you are thankful for, or to sit in the moment if you don't have a writing utensil and reflect on everything you're grateful for. When procrastination arises, it is imperative to show up for yourself. That's what I'm doing right here. I feel like I'm jumping off a cliff into a free fall. It's great. I love quotes. And I read one recently from Michael Jordan, who's arguably one of the best basketball players of all time. And he was quoted saying, I would rather miss a game than practice. Let that sink in for a minute. He is saying that the act and the art of practice, of showing up for yourself daily, is more important to him than the actual game where you could win or lose. With folks who have ADHD, it is encouraged in the psychology field to utilize what is called body doubling. Now, the reason I even talk about this today is because I believe it can work for everyone. Body doubling is when an individual has another individual in their life sit with them while they are completing a task that they do not want to do and have a heavy resistance built up toward it, and also are not able to see it to fruition, to complete the entire task. One important factor to note is this body double, this individual sitting with someone, is not meant to help them complete the task. In fact, it's best if that individual works on their own projects or does something that they need to do, right? Because then we get into enabling land, and that's not what this is. An example from my own personal life is my mother does not enjoy working out. It is a huge burden and a task that she does not want to complete. Yet it's imperative for people to work out weekly to maintain good health. So what I do is I invite her on my runs. She is not a runner, but she gets on her bike and we each have our own separate time. My earphones are in so that I can have my meditative run, and she is on her bike riding, and if she beats me, she can do laps around me, and then we finish at the same time. Body doubling leaves the individual in a place of accountability. They find somebody dear to their heart who can sit with them in the room and make sure this task is complete. From a neurological standpoint, the presence of another individual releases dopamine in the brain, and that also helps with productivity. So what have we learned today? I was very late on this episode, but I leaned into gratitude. I leaned into times I've shown up for myself. I made a vow to show up for myself. Here I am. And secondly, we talked about body doubling. My boyfriend's in the other room listening to this right now. Hello, great. He's working on his projects. I'm standing here. I'm being held accountable. I think there's probably 3 people watching this right now. Hello. Shout out to my mom, my parents, my friends. But I am here. I am being held accountable. And it is small actions like this that lead to a life of gratitude and a life of self-improvement. Thank you guys so much. We will see you next week.